the Power Rangers and the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. They are two of the biggest kids franchises in history. Anything you can think of in terms of merchandising, these two powerhouses have been involved in everything. TV shows, movies, toys, etc, etc. But the medium I will be touching on today is video games. Both franchises have produced tons of video games with varying successes. I think it's fair to say that the Ninja Turtles have the upper hand here in terms of producing great games. Now, what would happen if you were to bring these two franchises together for one big mashup? Well, that is what I'm going to be doing for this video, and the genre in question is fighting games. Now, I did a dream game involving Marvel superheroes, and now I'll be applying the same treatment to these two powerhouses. Now, I'm going to jump straight into the mechanics of how this can be brought together. So I'll be deciding on 5 key factors: the roster, the cast of characters, the gameplay mechanics, the gaming mode, and the actual roster. Now we start off with the roster size. Tournament Fighters has 10 playable characters and 2 bosses, taking the total to 12. Battle for the Grid has an initial 12 characters with a further 14, taking the total to 36 characters. Now there is a huge gap in time between both of these games' initial releases, so the difference in roster size can be attributed to the different time periods that they were created and then released in. So Tournament Fighters on first glance has a very small roster size, and given the massive universe of characters in Ninja Turtles, the roster size this time around will definitely be bigger. Now, last time around with my dream game roster for Marvel Super Heroes 2, I selected 50 characters with 4 bosses. I will repeat that same formula, so it will be 25 characters from Ninja Turtles and 25 from Power Rangers with 3 bosses, 1 for the main story and 2 for a regular arcade mode. And there is the matter of DLC, so there will be 40 characters available at the start and 10 more available via DLC, just like I did with Marvel Super Heroes 2. This will be just like Injustice 2 model of a one-time purchase of the DLC, and the new characters you can add once they are available. Now, as it is 10 characters, they can come in waves of 3, with the first 2 being a 3-pack, and then the third being a pack of 4. Next up is the cast of characters. Now here is a big quandary, deciding on which characters will be chosen and from which universes. In the case of Ninja Turtles, there are different eras, so where do I pick from? Do I use the characters from the 87 show, the characters from the 2003 show, the characters from the Rise of the TMNT show? Do I use the original Ninja Turtles movies characters? Do I use their comic book counterparts? I mean, it's a very large variety to choose from. And then there is the Power Rangers, of which there have been over 30 years with 30 television seasons of 22 different themed series, 3 theatrical movies, and a television special which was released in 2023. I mean, there is no shortage of options to choose from. And this is where I'm going to show my bias, and everyone from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to Power Rangers Zeo will be included. And then it will be picks from Power Rangers Turbo through to Power Rangers Wild Force, and a few odd picks from some of the later seasons. So the Rangers will include the Morphing 10, Jason, Zach, Trini, Billy, Kimberly, Tommy, Rocky, Adam, Aisha, and Catherine. Also included will be Tanya and Trey. Tanya and Catherine will be in their Turbo outfits, and Trey will be the solo Zeo Ranger in this instance. Jason, Zach, and Trini will wear their comic book outfits, and they will be the Omega Rangers. Now, villain-wise will be the usual suspects of the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers series, from Lord Zed, Rhea Repulsa, and Goldar. Astronomer was the lead villain from Power Rangers in Space, so I will include here, but more specifically I will include her true evil form that we saw in the later stages of Power Rangers in Space. Ransik was the leading villain from Power Rangers Time Force, and a very fascinating one at that, so he joins the fray. Then I will include not 1 but 2 evil versions of Tommy. First will be his evil Green Ranger persona as we saw in his Power Rangers debut. Then there is the ultimate evil version of Tommy in Lord Draken. He's the big bad of the Battle for the Grid comic books and the video games, so I have definitely included him here. The last 5 of the Power Rangers side will be 5 different Rangers from 5 different seasons. RJ, the Purple Ranger from Jungle Fury, as we saw him in Battle for the Grid. Carter Grayson, the Red Ranger from Lightspeed Rescue. Zane, the Silver Ranger from Power Rangers in Space, will be included. Maya, the Yellow Galaxy Ranger, will be selected from that Rangers group to join the roster. And Elisa, the White Tiger Wild Force Ranger, will complete the cast. As for the Turtles, given the serious nature of this game, I will be going for the 2003 version, as it more closely resembles the dark 80s Mirage comic book series. April will resemble her classic TMNT 87 look with the yellow banana jumpsuit. Splinter, I will also go for his 87 look as well, as it is my personal favourite look for him. Casey Jones appeared in both the 87 and the 2003 shows, but to balance things out here, Casey will have his 2003 look. Now, there was no Bebop and Rocksteady in Tournament Fighters, so they returned with their 87 look intact. Krang was a boss in the Tournament Fighters Sega Genesis version, so adapting his 87 look, he makes it on the list here. Shredder will take on his 2003 look, as I feel it is his most intimidating, and it fits in with the serious tone that I'm going for here. Hun and Baxter Stockman, as we saw from the 2003 version, will also be included here, with Baxter in his cyborg exosuit to provide more of a threat. There was the mysterious Bishop, who served as an enemy and an ally to the Turtles in the 2003 show, so he gets an add to the roster. The two bosses of Tournament Fighters, Karai and the Rat King, will be amongst the roster, with Karai taking on a 2003 persona, and the Rat King will be more in line with his Tournament Fighters and 87 version look. A couple of more 2003 alums that I'll be adding to the roster. Leatherhead, where he was the good guy unlike his 87 counterpart, and he was very intelligent, similar in intellect to Donatello. An almost beast Hank McCoy version of Leatherhead, which fits in perfectly with the good guys in this game. Traximus, a Triceraton warrior who was part of the Triceraton Empire before he was ousted for standing up to the Empire's tyrannical rule, led by Zanramon, and became an ally to the Turtles. Drago, the red Asiatic dragon, will also be a part of this roster. Now, to be honest, I was not too familiar with him, as it's been an age since I've watched the 2003 show, but he has the presence and the look to provide for an intimidating but fun character. Finally, I'll be adding two more 87 Ninja Turtles alum in the form of Slash and Chromedom. This next character, I think, has only featured once in the Ninja Turtles gaming series, so I thought I'd bring him along. I am of course referring to Tatsu, Shredder's right-hand man from the first Ninja Turtles movies. Finishing off the Turtles roster, there will be not one, but three femme fatales. Asuka, as she was in Tournament Fighters, returns here, costume and moves and all. In the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles canon, there were two female Ninja Turtles, the first being Venus DeMarlo, who made her debut in the quite frankly very awful TMNT Next Mutation. She has also appeared in the IDW comics. The second female Ninja Turtle was Janika, a former human assassin for the Foot Clan who later joins forces with the Turtles. She becomes a mutant turtle after a blood transfusion from Leonardo after she was wounded in battle against Karai. The next aspect of this game is the gameplay mechanics, so for familiarity, we'll stick with the basic 3 vs 3 model. You can select 3 characters from the 50 deep roster. You can tag in and tag out at random, pull off multiple combo hits as we saw in Battle for the Grid and the Marvel vs Capcom games. These hyper combo gauges will be built as they normally do, going up to a level 4 and being able to pull off a triple hyper threat combo. There will be super jumps and assists from your roster. Battle for the Grid saw you select the roster and have a Zord as an assist character. The Zord activates once your characters have taken significant damage and the damage meter fills up, and then you can unleash the Zord. Now we'll keep this feature and add the Turtles weapons like the blimp, the van. Yes, I know those were for the 87 show, but it fits for this feature. The Technodrome or the Triceraton spaceship can be also included in that lineup. So that would be the basic mechanics for the game, mostly the standard features you'd expect from a 3-on-3 fighting game in terms of a graphical style which is more in line with Battle for the Grid visually. Next up are the gaming mode. Okay, so as you would expect, these would be the standard modes in the fighting game. Single player arcade mode. You select your team and you take on 6 other teams with the difficulty rising as you progress until you meet the final boss. This can be selected before you begin. I will get to those now. For arcade mode, there will be 3 bosses to choose from, 1 from Power Rangers and 2 from Ninja Turtles, as the story mode will center on a Power Rangers character, Lord Draken. The bosses for the arcade mode would be Super Shredder and Ivan Ooze. Completing this mode will see each individual character get their own story ending. This would be more in line with the endings that we saw in Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Just 2 to 3 pages of illustration, maybe with a voiceover. Single player mode. This would play similarly to the Battle for the Grid storyline, with cutscenes that resemble a mini movie like the Injustice games. You play only as the Rangers and the Ninja Turtles. At certain stages, the fights would be 1-on-1, 2-on-2, and finally 3-on-3, with some of the bigger bosses like Lord Zed and Rita Repulsa having 3 health bars that you have to deplete in order to win the match. Just like Battle for the Grid, the final boss is Lord Draken. But the way I would work it is that he would resemble something like the final boss that we saw in Marvel vs. Capcom 2. He would have 3 forms. First would be him controlling 3 main villains. This could be any combination of Shredder, Krang, Zed, Rita, or the evil Green Ranger, with their powers amped up to make it a bit more challenging. You defeat them, and next up would be the standard Lord Draken, but with 3 energy bars that you have to deplete. And then finally would be Draken in super large form like Galactus or Apocalypse. Defeat him, and you complete the game and the story mode. The next mode is multiplayer versus mode. This is basically your standard player versus player match, or play against the CPU on any difficulty of your choice. Very basic stuff. Training mode. Again, you pick your characters and you practice until you get better. Online mode. Now if you're bored of facing the computer on the hardest level and winning all the time, there is the option of going online and facing players from any and all corners from the world. You'd be amazed at how ridiculously good some of these players online are. Now before this section is finished off, I should briefly mention the type of story that will be incorporated into the game. I won't go into too many detailed specifics, more of an overview. Now the story will follow the events of Battle for the Grid, with Lord Draken having survived the battle against Tommy. He is weakened, but is slowly and quietly manipulating Lord Zed, Rita Repulsa, and other major villains, and is slowly regaining his powers by tricking them into helping him. On top of that, he disguises himself as Good Tommy and quietly lures several Rangers into a trap where he takes bits of their power, which slowly sees him become more powerful and then regain his full strength. He turns on Zed and Rita and takes their powers on top of the Ranger energies that he has gained, and becomes all powerful and seeks revenge on Tommy and the Morphin Rangers. He is looking to take over the realities of both the Power Rangers and the Ninja Turtles world. With Draken back and more powerful, the combined forces of the Ninja Turtles and the first 10 seasons of Power Rangers, plus a few from later shows, all join forces, and they must defeat him once and for all. Now, with all of that out of the way, here is the final roster of characters, starting with the Ninja Turtles. Leonardo, Michelangelo, Raphael, Donatello, Splinter, April O'Neil, the 87 version, Casey Jones, Leatherhead, the 2003 version, Traximus, Janika, Venus de Milo, Bebop, Rocksteady, Krang, Shredder, the 2003 version, Karai, the 2003 version, Hun, the Rat King, Agent Bishop, Asuka, Slash, Baxter Stockman, Draco, Chrome Dome, Tatsu, and on the Power Rangers side, the roster reads as follows: Jason the Red Omega Ranger, Zack the Black Omega Ranger, Trini the Yellow Omega Ranger, Tommy the White Ranger, Kimberly the Pink Ranger, Billy the Blue Ranger, Rocky the Red Ranger, Adam the Black Ranger, Aisha the Yellow Ranger, Catherine the Pink Turbo Ranger, Tanya the Yellow Turbo Ranger, the Gold Ranger Trey of Triforia, RJ the Violet Wolf Ranger, Carter the Red Lightspeed Rescue Ranger, Zane the Silver Ranger from Power Rangers in Space, Maya the Yellow Galaxy Ranger, Elisa the White Tiger Wild Force Ranger, and then you have Lord Zed, Rita, Rancic, Evil Green Ranger, Daishi, Goldar, Astronomer, and Lord Draken. So that makes the full roster of 50 I've selected for this game, and it's not a bad looking roster if I do say so myself. Now I did mention the DLC earlier, which would come in 3 waves. The first 2 waves will be packs of 3 and the final wave will be a pack of 4. But who will be the DLC characters? Okay, the way I've grouped it will be like this. So that finishes off the entire roster selection for TMNT versus Power Rangers, with these two franchises showing no signs of slowing down with all their merchandising continuing in the form of new movies and comics and what have you. Why not extend their legacies to the fighting games world and bring them together in one massive slugfest? The team-ups, the fast-paced gameplay, the roster selection, the final bosses, the story mode, all of these elements I feel would make for one excellent fighting game. One that sadly is a complete fantasy. If only that device that I could use to project my thoughts into reality could come true. But in any event, if there was to be a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vs Power Rangers fighting game, this is what I would have in mind. What would be your lineup, and what other elements would you love to add? Please let me know in the comment section. And that brings an end to this video. I am K-Man of Smug Entertainment, and that was my dream fighting game, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles vs Power Rangers. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you liked it, and if you want to see more, please remember to like, share and subscribe. Thank you.